Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Sthapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Sthapakaya Cha Dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and today's topic I have chosen, be lamp unto yourself. So, Sri Ramakrishna has said very clearly that everyone should struggle earnestly to realize this truth. So, struggling is very important. We see so many things in the world which we may not like, but nobody can straighten out the world. It goes in its own way. But then we should not lose our track. We should hold on to spiritual path and try to realize the truth in this very life. Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, the world consists of the illusory duality of knowledge and ignorance. It contains knowledge and devotion, and also attachment to lust and gold, righteousness and unrighteousness, good and evil. But Brahman is unattached to these. Good and evil apply to the jiva, the individual soul, as do righteousness and unrighteousness, but Brahman is not at all affected by them. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example. One may read Bhagavat by the light of a lamp, and another may commit a forgery by that very light. But the lamp is unaffected. The sun sheds its light on the wicked as well as on the virtuous. So, we should not lose sight of our goal. We should not get lost into this conflicting things going on in the world. Life is no doubt full of paradoxes. By its very nature, life is such that pairs of opposites always coexist. Sorrow and happiness, heat and cold, wealth and poverty, abundance and scarcity. Life is filled with these opposites. Paradoxes are everywhere in our personal as well as collective lives. Mother Nature, out of her infinite bounty of resources, has bestowed on us enough to fulfill all our basic needs. And yet millions live every day under the dark shadows of hunger, malnutrition, homelessness and water scarcity. Despite all the hype about programs for social change, the poor keep growing poorer and the rich richer. Nobody can stop this. International summits on peace and harmony involving astronomical figures of expenditure continue to be held side by side with ever greater accumulation of deadly weapons and formulation of military strategies. At our personal level too, we encounter this paradoxical nature of reality again and again. Even though we know quite reasonably what is noble and good, yet we fail to make use of our knowledge in the hour of need. We begin every day with a fresh resolve to overcome our shortcomings. But how often we look back at the end of the day with gloomy eyes over our failure to carry out our resolves. We fix our ideals, but our actions do not reflect our intentions. And to crown it all, somehow we have learned to live with these paradoxes and to justify them. But human aspirations do not always rest with this. We seek a solution and an authentic answer to what afflicts us. Why these paradoxes in life? Why this gap between precepts and practice, between having and yet suffering for want? One of the important reasons for this is our inability to seek answers in the right place. We always look for answers in the wrong place. We look for an object in a room where it doesn't exist. From our early childhood, we are seldom taught to seek answers from within. We believe that answers are always outside. As Leo Tolstoy once remarked, everyone talks of changing humanity, but very few talk of changing themselves. Beautiful statement. The fact remains that the treasure lies within. In fact, the inner treasure is a source of all happiness and security, much surer than what the wealth outside can give. Hence, the quest for the wealth within is one of the most fundamental tasks in human life. Unlike external and material wealth, the inner wealth can never be stolen. You may forget about it, as Vedanta describes it as Maya, but forgetfulness does not in any way erase the fact of its existence. The possession of material wealth is fraught with fear and anxiety. Robbers may take it away, and if it is earned unlawfully, the tax department may lay its hands on it. But unlike material wealth, inner wealth can never be stolen. It's always a source of strength and fearlessness. One of the Upanishads has described a man who has accumulated inner wealth as fearless and bold. Abhayam praptaha. Once he gets into that inner treasure, he is well established in fearlessness. The state of material wealth may suffer from periods of recession and depression, but the inner wealth never faces any such situation. In fact, once acquired, the inner wealth keeps multiplying. Now that I have obtained this inner gem, I have no fear of losing it by spending or theft. It keeps growing every day. Thus sang a great Hindi poet saint of medieval India. A man rich inwardly can withstand any situation, however trying it may be, for he has found that which nothing in this world can ever take away. What is this inner wealth? Vedanta clearly states it is the knowledge of self. Knowledge of self, Adhyatma Vidya, Paravidya. All the Upanishads declare the knowledge of the self, Atman, is supreme, by knowing which you know everything. By experiencing that knowledge, you will be permanently established in bliss. No more misery, no more suffering, no more conflicts, no more paradoxes. Everything becomes crystal clear. This self or Atman is a source of all power, strength and glory. But how often we forget this fact and keep digging wells on the bank of a river. Though we have abundance so near us, yet we complain about scarcity and resultant misery. Knowledge of this self is the greatest source of strength and light. Swami Vivekananda has said in one of his talks, all the powers in the universe are already ours. It is we who have put our hands before our eyes and cry that it is dark. Know that there is no darkness around us. Take the hands away, and there is light which was from the beginning. Darkness never existed. Weakness never existed. We who are fools cry that we are weak. We who are fools cry that we are impure. How boldly Swami Vivekananda discloses this fantastic truth. Having turned our attention outward, we have forgotten the treasure within. When man's journey towards reaching this inner wealth begins, his life and personality undergo a definite change. He comes to acquire what the Bhagavad Gita calls divine virtues. There's a special chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, Daivi Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Sri Krishna classifies traits into divine and demonic. The divine traits include all that is noble and virtuous. The demonic traits, on the other hand, represent the sum total of all that is ignoble and vile. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that when realization of the self is near, cultivation of higher virtues is fundamental to spiritual life. In Vedanta, even the very study of sacred scriptures, it is held, should be made only after one has acquired certain qualifying prerequisites. The aspirant for the study and practice of Vedanta is expected to acquire the four means of spiritual enlightenment: Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shat Sampatti. That is the group of 6 spiritual treasures. Viveka, discrimination; Vairagya, dispassion; Shama means tranquility; Dhamma means self-control; Uparati means cessation of external organs from the pursuit of sense objects; Titiksha means endurance; Samadhana means concentration; and Shraddha, faith; and Mumukshutva, intense yearning for liberation. The underlying idea is that unless one is endowed with these qualities, one is likely to either misunderstand the goal or treat Vedantic truths as objects of intellectual gyrations and not as life-giving principles. Cultivation of divine wealth is universally accepted by everyone, just as laws of nature discovered by scientists have a universal application independent of time and space. So is the importance and need for cultivation of higher virtues. You can't say that Newton's laws are operating only in England or America, and that the Pascal's principles were useful only when they were discovered and are no longer relevant. Just as the laws of science have a universality about them, so also the cultivation of divine virtues is a basic prerequisite. Patanjali, the great sage of yoga, calls the cultivation of inner wealth as great vows, Mahavrata. These, unbroken by time, place, purpose and caste rules, are universal great vows. Commenting on this, Swami Vivekananda said, these practices, such as non-killing, truthfulness, non-stealing, chastity and non-receiving, are to be practiced by every man, woman and child, by every soul, irrespective of nation, country and position. Swami Vivekananda said this in Complete Works. The modern society teaches people how to remain busy with various activities, most of which ultimately end up in earning a livelihood only, or at the most developing some talents and skills. We learn to do, but rarely are we taught how to be. One of the outstanding thinkers, Erich of modern times, he writes, in a culture in which the supreme goal is to have, and to have more and more, and in which one can speak of someone as being worth $1 million, how can there be an alternative between having and being? On the contrary, it would seem that the very essence of being is having, that if one has nothing, one is nothing. Yet the great masters of living have made the alternative between having and being a central issue of their respective systems. The Buddha teaches that in order to arrive at the highest stage of human development, we must not crave possessions. Jesus teaches, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. For what is a man advantaged if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? Another famous philosopher, Eckhart, taught that to have nothing and make oneself open and empty, not to let one's ego stand in one's way, is a condition for achieving spiritual wealth and strength. Marx taught that luxury is as much as a vice as poverty, and that our goal should be to be much, not to have too much. Our goal should be to be much, not to have much. This being mode of living alone can help us acquire our lost wealth. A musk deer runs about to seek the source of fragrance which lies in its own navel. This is how most of us live. The search for the wealth within is indeed very rewarding. In fact, this wealth within is the essence of religion, and to acquire it, its real aim. When this core of religion is overlooked or forgotten, all quarrels and misunderstandings occur. Then religion, instead of becoming a source of peace and strength, becomes a breeding ground for hatred, unrest and violence. The inner wealth of a man is a spiritual treasure, but unlike material wealth, the inner wealth cannot be measured by any physical means. You can neither quantify it nor limit it. One cannot use a scale and say a particular person has such an amount of spirituality. 4 liters of sincerity, 8 kilograms of renunciation, and 10 feet of purity. What could be more ridiculous than this? Inner wealth is an abstract property. It can't be quantified or judged. It may be assessed, but the only way to assess spirituality is to become spiritual oneself. A search for solutions to life's problems cannot be fruitful until it takes an inward turn. Sri Ramakrishna says in one of his inimitable parables that a man wanted a smoke at the dead of night. To his dismay he found there was no fire in the hearth. Then he took a lantern and went to his neighbor's house and knocked at his door. When the neighbor came and learnt what he wanted, he exclaimed, "But you have already the fire with you," pointing to the lantern he was holding. Something quite similar is true of the wealth that we seek. Paradoxes in life will continue to afflict us so long as we don't find the solution within. However much we may formulate a system of thought and devise a method of governance, in actual life we will continue to fail miserably if we have not found the wealth within. Not that by finding the inner wealth, the problems arising out of pairs of opposites will be solved and the world will become free of all conflicts. But most definitely, a man who has unlocked his inner treasure will be much better equipped to face the challenges of life than those who are inwardly poor. The acquisition of the inner wealth confers enormous strength and power to its possessor. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, chapter 6, "Yan labdva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukkena guruna api vichalyate." Beautiful verse. Obtaining it, one does not think of any other acquisition to be superior to that, and being established in it, one is not perturbed even by great sorrow. We often speak of the grace of God. It doesn't always mean removal of outside difficulties, but cultivation of inner strength and equanimity. In fact, when the grace of God falls on a man, the difficulties might increase sometimes. But if he is properly tuned, it also means an upsurge of noble qualities. Sri Ramakrishna explains this state of mind through a wonderful example. The state of a servant's house will tell you unmistakably whether his master has decided to visit it. First, the rubbish and jungle around the house are cleared up. Second, the soot and dirt are removed from the rooms. Third, the courtyard, floors and other places are swept clean. Finally, the master himself sends various things to the house, such as a carpet, a hubble-bubble for smoking and the like. When you see these things arriving, you conclude that the master will very soon come. When the noble virtues begin to grow in life, rest assured that the master of the house, knowledge of the self, is not far away. Life is what it is. Everyone reads the book of life in his own way. Those who have the bright lamp of discrimination, purity, love, strength, and all that is called noble, read the book of life better. They read the meaning of life better. Those whose inner lamp is dim or flickering get only a glimpse of life reality. The last words of Buddha to his disciples when he was on his deathbed were, "Be a lamp unto yourself." Be a lamp unto yourself. Timeless teaching indeed. So, the most glorious treasure is in our own heart. We have to realize it. We have to cultivate noble virtues, and by cultivating noble virtues, we will have easy access into the spiritual chamber where we can have the blissful light of the Atman shining forever. Experiencing that, we become free from all conflicts, paradoxes, difficulties, situations, miseries and sufferings. And then that means life becomes fulfilled. Life's mission is properly achieved only when we struggle earnestly, cultivating all the noble virtues to experience the nature of our true self within the heart. That is the end of spiritual journey. So, be lamp unto yourself. That's a great teaching. Master Maharaj said, Jesus Christ too wept like an ordinary man at the suffering of his devotees. Master said, how was that? Master Maharaj said, there were two sisters, Mary and Martha. Lazarus was their brother. All three were devoted to Jesus. Lazarus died. Jesus was on his way to their house. One of the sisters, Mary, ran out to meet him. She fell at his feet and said, weeping, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Jesus wept to see her cry. Then Jesus went to the tomb of Lazarus and called him by name. Immediately, Lazarus came back to life and walked out of the tomb. Master said, but I can't do those things. Master Maharaj said, that's because you don't want to. These are miracles, therefore you are not interested in them. These things draw people's attention to their bodies. Then they do not think of genuine devotion. That's why you don't perform miracles. But there are many similarities between you and Jesus Christ. Master said smilingly, what else? Yam said, you don't ask your devotees to fast or practice other austerities. You don't prescribe hard and fast rules about food. Christ's disciples did not observe the Sabbath, so the Pharisees took them to task. Thereupon Jesus said, they have done well to eat. As long as they are with me, the bridegroom, they must make merry. Master said, what does that mean? Yam said, Christ meant that as long as the disciples live with the incarnation of God, they should only make merry. Why should they be sorrowful? But when he returns to his own abode in heaven, then will come the days of their sorrow and suffering. Master said smilingly, do you find anything else in me that is similar to Christ? Yam said, yes sir. You say the youngsters are not yet touched by lust and gold. They will be able to assimilate instruction. It is like keeping milk in a new pot. The milk may turn sour if it is kept in a pot in which curd has been made. Christ also spoke like that. Master said, what did he say? M said, if new wine is kept in an old bottle, the bottle may crack. If an old cloth is patched with new cloth, the old cloth tears away. Further, you tell us that you and the mother are one. Likewise, Christ said, I and my Father are one. Master said smilingly, anything else? M said, yes. You say to us, God will surely listen to you if you call on him earnestly. So also Christ said, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Master said, well, if God has incarnated himself again, is it a fractional or a partial or a complete manifestation of God? Some say it is a complete manifestation. M said, sir, I don't quite understand the meaning of complete or partial or fractional incarnation. But I have understood, as you explained it, the idea of a round hole in a wall. Master said, tell me about it. M said, there is a round hole in the wall. Through it one is able to see part of the meadow on the other side of the wall. Likewise, through you one sees part of the infinite God. Master said, true. You can see 5 or 6 miles of the meadow at a stretch. M finished his bath in the Ganges and went to the master's room. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. He asked Latu to give him the rice prasad of Jagannath. The master stood near him and said, take this prasad regularly. Those who are devotees of God do not eat anything before taking the prasad. M said, yesterday I got some prasad of Jagannath from Balram Babu's house. I take 1 or 2 grains daily. M saluted the master and took his leave. Sri Ramakrishna said to him tenderly, come early in the morning tomorrow. The hot sun of the rainy season is bad for the health. Sri Ramakrishna was resting in his room. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening. Though ill and suffering, he constantly devoted himself to the welfare of the devotees. Sometimes he felt restless like a child, but the next moment he forgot all about his illness and became filled with ecstatic love of God. His love for the devotees was like that of a mother for her children. 2 days earlier, on Saturday night, he had received a letter from Purna. Purna had written, I am feeling extremely happy. Now and then I can't sleep at night for joy. After hearing the letter, the master had remarked, I feel thrilled to hear this. Even later on, he will be able to keep this bliss. Let me see the letter. He had pressed the letter in the palm of his hand and said, generally I can't touch letters, but this is a good letter. That same night, while the master was in bed, he had suddenly become covered with perspiration. He had sat up in bed, saying, it seems to me that I shall not recover from this illness. It had worried the devotees very much to hear this. The Holy Mother had come to the temple garden to wait on Sri Ramakrishna and was living in a room in the Nahabat. The devotees, with the exception of 1 or 2, were not aware of her presence. A woman devotee staying with the Holy Mother had begun to pay frequent visit to Sri Ramakrishna in his room. After a few days, Sri Ramakrishna had said to her, you have been here some time. What will people think about it? You had better go home for a week or so. Sri Ramakrishna lay in bed on his side with his back to the room. After dusk, Gangadhar and M arrived from Calcutta. Gangadhar sat at the feet of the master. He was talking to M. Master said, 2 boys came here the other day. One of them was Subodh. He is Shankar Ghosh's great grandson. The other, Kshirode, is his neighbor. They are nice boys. I told them I was ill and asked them to go to you for instruction. Please look after them a little. M said, yes sir, they are our neighbors. Master said, the other day again I woke up covered with perspiration. I don't understand this illness. M said, we have decided to ask Bhagavan Rudra to see you once. He is an MD and an expert physician. Master said, how much will he charge? M said, his regular fee is 20 or 25 rupees. Master, then don't bother about him. M said, but we shall pay him 4 or 5 rupees at the most. Master, listen, suppose you say this to him, sir, please be kind enough to come and see him. Hasn't he heard anything about this place? M said, perhaps he has. He has almost agreed not to charge any fee. But we shall pay him a little. If we do that, he will come again. Master said, ask Dr. Nitai to come. He is a good physician. But what will the doctors do, I wonder? They press my throat and make my illness worse. It was 9 o'clock in the evening. Sri Ramakrishna ate a little farina pudding and had no difficulty in swallowing it. He said to him cheerfully, I was able to eat a little. I feel very happy. So stop. So be lamp unto yourself. Without struggle you won't get anything. That's the theme. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Our name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bought for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant and sing the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or revenue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. How I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with his desire, and a world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous reign tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed from make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, with the siding beauty of all sacred works be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe being satisfied.